Everything is good for sound. Welcome everyone to the December CEC 20 meeting. My name is Steve Stowe. I'm the president of the CEC. Okay. Vito, are you able to take roll call?
I didn't expect to, so it'll take me a few minutes.
I can do it if you prefer.
Kevin's not there.
Oh, Kevin.
I'm here.
No, Kevin. Kevin Wiesner. Can you take roll call? Attendance? Kevin can do it. Vito, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, President Steve Stowe,
Here.
Jennifer Hugh,
Here.
Elizabeth Chan, Vito Labella,
Here.
Maria Brugueres,
Here.
Maya Rosenblatt, Joy C,
Here.
Kevin Zhao,
Kevin.
Oh, yeah. Gada Amin,
Here.
Yona Isufi,
Hi, I'm here.
Li Ping Yang,
Here.
Okay. Great. Good. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, I see Elizabeth is here too. Wow, we have a full house. This is great. Really great. Do you guys can you guys spread out down there just a touch? Oh yeah. Great. Okay.
That's actually good.
I'm going to go over the agenda for tonight. Kevin, are you able to share that? Thank you. So for tonight, we will have, first, we're going to have the color guard from IS 201 open the meeting. Then we will approve the minutes from the November meeting. We will have Superintendent Preto's report. I will have a few comments. We will have, so we need to change this agenda. The resolution vote should be after the public speaking session. So that will be after the public speaking session. That's not during the report of council president. And then after I speak, we will have the school liaison reports. And then public speaking session, 30 minutes. And then we will have the vote on the resolution about the Fair Student Funding Working Group. And then immediately following the calendar meeting, we will have the business meeting. And there are no agenda items on the business meeting other than approval of the minutes from last meeting. Okay, you can stop sharing that, Kevin. Thank you. So just administrative announcements for tonight. We are holding the meeting at IS2. That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, we are holding the meeting at IS 201, the Madeline Brennan School. There's a few important announcements I would like to make. First, I just want to remind everyone that this is a public meeting and it is being recorded. For council members, please keep yourself muted unless you are speaking. We will start without using a mic, but if the quality is poor, we will switch to a mic. And then for members participating remotely, please make sure your name is shown on your Zoom screen and your camera is on. For members speaking here, please make sure your placard is showing. I want to announce that there are Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin interpreters here tonight for participants attending the meeting virtually. You should see video of these interpreters. Thank you to them for being here with us and providing this important service to our Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin speaking attendees. They will now announce instructions for anyone who may wish to dial into the language lines at this time. Could our Arabic interpreters please introduce themselves?
Good evening, everybody. This is Arabic announcement for Arabic audience للاستماع إلى الترجمة باللغة العربية. أرجو التواصل على الرقم 347-966-4114 وإدخال الرقم التعريفي 129-059-972 وإدخال رمز الشباك. مرة ثانية للحصول على الخدمة الترجمة باللغة العربية أرجو الاتصال على الرقم 347-966-4114 وإدخال الرمز التعريفي 129-059-972 وإدخال رمز الشباك. الرجاء وضع أنفسكم في وضع الصامت وستتاح لكم فرصة في آخر هذه المحاضرة لإلقاء أسئلتكم واستفساراتكم وشكرا. Arabic announcement is done. Thank you.
Thank you. Could our Mandarin interpreter please introduce themselves?
Okay, this is the Mandarin interpreter. My name is Max Chen. I will start to make announcement my Mandarin. Okay, 各位今天参与的，甚至在电话线上或者视频上的家长大家好如果你需要的中文的翻译服务，请拨打1379664114 ID 密码为569980445，井字号。OK， 再重复一次我们今天有提供中文普通话翻译电话号码为134796641114 ID 密码为569980445，井字号再强调一次，请各位今天打这个翻译专线的电话，请务必把你的麦克风给关闭，避免嘈杂对翻译人员的一些翻译没办法很精确的翻译出来，甚至造成其他希望用中文翻译专线的困扰。OK， 感谢您 ，Thank you。
Thank you.
I'm done.
Could our Spanish interpreter please introduce themselves?
Good evening. My name is Daniel, and I'm one of the Spanish interpreters for tonight. This announcement is going to be in Spanish. Sí, por favor, si quiere escuchar esta junta en español, marque al número de teléfono 347-966-4114 e introduzca el número PIN 960-336-548 y el símbolo numeral. Repito, el número de teléfono es 347-966-4114 y el número PIN es el 960-336-548. Si desea escuchar el audio en español, pero quiere permanecer en esta sala de conferencia de Zoom para poder ver la audiencia en su computadora, por favor, ponga en silencio su computadora y marque en su teléfono a la línea de conferencia en español. De nuevo, la línea de conferencia en español es el número de teléfono 347-966-4114 y el número PIN es el 960-336-548. También voy a compartir esa misma información en el chat para su conveniencia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Because we will have simultaneous interpretation throughout the meeting, please try to speak slower than usual to allow the interpreters to keep up. Third, later tonight, we will hold a public comment session. If you would like to sign up for public speaking, please sign up at the form located on the CEC website. And the form has also been posted in the chat. When it is time for public comment, we will take comment from anyone in person, anyone who has signed up using the form. We will also take comments from anyone on the language lines. The interpreters can translate your comments into English. And finally, if you have called in using your phone, press *9 and we will unmute your line. That's all for administrative items. We'd like to begin the meeting with the color guard from IS 201. Would everyone please rise for the introduction of colors? Thank you. I just want to welcome a few individuals who are here tonight. As always, we are joined by Superintendent Dr. David Preto. We're joined by Family Leadership Coordinator Bill Chin. Online with us is Family Support Coordinator Sylvia Jasinski, all from the district office. I believe I also see Susan Zhuang from Assemblyman Bill Colton's office here with us tonight. Welcome, Susan. I see Ariel Arroyo, our UFT representative, here with us tonight. I believe Jane Kapitanakis, our CSA representative, is also here with us tonight. So welcome, everyone. First order of business, approve the minutes from November. Kevin, are you able to share those? I can also share them if you want. Cool, thanks. So everyone, please review the minutes. And if there are any changes, please speak or we will approve them. Can you scroll back up real quick, Kevin? Just to the, I just want to see the top of that vote there. The motion. Okay, add. Okay, all right, got it. Thank you. Any changes to the minutes?
I think Maya was that was marked as feedback. She was there though.
She wasn't.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I see in the, we're gonna have to, I see in the vote, I see what you mean, Jen, but she definitely wasn't, because
So that should have probably
The vote probably has, yep, that's a good point, Jen. So that's one edit that has to be made is Maya Rosenblatt wasn't, we have to double check that. So double check Maya on the, go back to the recording, Kevin, and just double check that. I'm pretty sure Maya would be marked absent for that vote. Okay. So approve, so is there a motion to approve the minutes with that amendment made? And someone else has to make the motion. Chair can't make a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor of approving the minutes with that change made to the vote for Maya Rosenblatt? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So the minutes are approved as amended. Okay, let's begin with Superintendent Preto's report.
Just gonna share the screen. Should I unmute?
Yes. Mute.
Okay, so good evening, council. Good evening, principals, community leaders, elected officials, and thank you to Principal Chula and staff for having us at IS 201. So I'm just going to give an update on the gifted and talented application process, which is currently open. Give a brief update on the superintendent program task force. Address some questions around grading policy and attendance, and then provide the current status around tutoring and enrichment in District 20 schools. There has been a request around how tutoring and enrichment is happening in our District 20 schools, so I'll be able to provide a report on that. Really briefly, with the superintendent program task force, right after the last meeting, we had an illness in the office, which kind of delayed the identification of a date for December. So we wanted to have December to be the jump off point, but we're delayed a little bit. So we'll be jumping off in January. But there will be, again, the structure will still be the same with an added caveat that we will be including some students in the task force. And I'm currently in the process of working with our local high schools as well as our existing middle schools to identify students to be able to provide input into the design and recommendation of a future superintendent program in district. But we'll continue to include parent leaders, both from council, from CEC, from President's Council as well, and from Title I District Parent Advisory Council, in addition to elementary and middle school principals in the district. So we will, I apologize for the delay, but we will begin in January. I'll identify a date and make that that outreach to all those constituents to begin the conversation. And then really briefly, there was an outreach from the council around the question of attendance and any potential impact of attendance on student grades. We recently had the conversation around a district-wide attendance policy, and that conversation and the decision-making around the district-wide grading policy was made in accordance with Chancellor's Regulation A501, which dictates how grading policies happen in the New York City Department of Education, and attendance is not a factor in overall grades. So I know that there is an uptick in absences due to illness, COVID, as well as the flu, RSV, we're seeing definitely an uptick in absences. So I know that the concern is coming from, the potential of if my student is absent, is it going to be impactful on their grades? The answer is no. Attendance is not a factor in grades. We have a lot of mechanisms in place now with remote access, Google Classrooms, and other communication forms, not just with parent coordinators, but also with teachers and the principal. So parents should be able to be in contact with their child's teacher around work and be able to communicate absences and be able to support maintaining children being on track for not falling too far behind. Additionally, with students who are absent due to positive COVID results, we do have mechanisms in place to support students through office hours directly with the child's teacher, as well as ensuring that assignments are posted onto Google Classrooms or other online platforms to make sure that children have access to their work for that week. So if there's any questions, any parent should definitely reach directly out to their teacher, to their parent coordinator, or to their principal with any questions around how attendance is impacting a child's progress and being able to maintain being on pace with the class. And if there's any questions around that or any difficulties, please reach out to my office. But that, attendance should not be and is not a factor into grades and should not impact children unreasonably on how they're able to maintain connection to the class, access to assignments, and communication with their teacher. Okay, so the gifted and talented kindergarten admissions process is open, and I've just prepared a brief presentation on that process. So we are in winter, and all applications go through the, I'm sorry, not all applications, but the application process and the ability for parents to research schools is through the myschools.nyc account, where you can search for schools and programs, and you can also submit your application online with My Schools. And you can also submit your application via phone, which I'll share a phone number where families can submit their kindergarten application, including for gifted and talented. And in the spring, we have not identified a specific date yet, but in spring, offers or result letter will be provided, and parents will need to accept that offer and work with the school using the information on the results letter to register. And then in the summertime, there will be, where applicable, waitlist offers made to parents for particular programs, wherever that's applicable. So for this cycle is for children born anytime in 2018, and for children who are eligible to enter kindergarten in the fall of 2023. And the application is open. The deadline to apply is January 20th. For families that apply by the deadline, they will receive offers in April. All children in District 20 have a zoned program, and most children attend their zone program. A gifted and talented program is not necessarily at a child's zone school, but we definitely recommend on that application, in addition to any other programs that families are applying to definitely list the zone school as well as a choice on the application. And gifted and talented programs, as well as dual language programs, which are both screened programs at the kindergarten level, are to be listed on the application if a parent wants to include that as a choice for the program. So this year, the kindergarten application is being used to apply to both gifted and talented programs as well as general kindergarten programs. So if a family is interested in G&T, they need to make sure that they're listing that G&T program on the application in true preference order. And when they say true preference order, means that if a family truly wants the gifted and talented program at a particular school to be the first choice, to list it as the first choice, and so on and so forth, going on down. Eligibility for application to the program are current pre-K students at DOE schools, at pre-K centers, at our NYCECs or New York City early education centers, or charter schools, which will be evaluated by their current pre-K teachers. And pre-K students at private or parochial school programs, or for children who are not yet enrolled in school, will be contacted by the Division of Early Childhood to set up interviews that will determine eligibility. So there's some factors to know regarding a child's chances for each choice that they list on the application. So this goes down to priority groups that exist within the application process. So the highest priority is the zone school. So all families in District 20 have a zone school, with the exception of our citywide program. And children are entitled to a seat at their zone school. Most children in New York City attend the zone school for kindergarten, but not all zone schools, particularly in District 20, offer 3K or pre-K. In fact, the grand majority of District 20 students who are in pre-K or 3K attend one of our District 20 pre-K centers. And our District 20 pre-K center principals, Lauren Napolitano and Danielle Bennett, are well integrated into the process for supporting teachers and students for the school-based side component of the application. Next level of priority is programs for schools within the district. So first, the highest priority is your zone school. The next priority level is the school in a program or school in the district where your zone school lies. The third level is going to be sibling priorities, or programs or schools where your sibling is currently enrolled. The program where a student is currently enrolled. So there is a priority built in for children who attend a pre-K or 3K program where there is then a kindergarten program at it. And for G&T programs, there's priority to families who have siblings or families who reside within the district. So if you're applying to a G&T program and you have a sibling or family member who attends school within the district, there is an additional priority layer built in for that. But I note that it's in the district, not in a particular school. So on the application, families can list up to 12 choices on the application. Enrollment office advises families to really list choices in true preference order, listing the top choices number 1 on the application. How a family lists choices on the application does not change a child's priority at any given school. So the priority remains the same no matter where a child or a family lists a particular program or school on their application. So for example, if you're a current student at a program listed on the application, you will always have that priority no matter where you list on the application. And that's especially true for a zoned program. So for example, if I list my zone program at 7th on the application, you're always entitled to a seat at that zone school. And then schools cannot see how families listed them on the application. So if you listed your zone school 7th on the application, your zone school does not know where you listed it on the application. So the department is really trying to communicate to families that really to only list schools you want your child to attend, to not include choices you are not interested in. And then finally, the application, when the application is open, and it's open right now, and the deadline is January 20th, there are 3 ways to apply. So first, and the one that we advise is, where possible, is to apply online at myschools.nyc, which is translated and available in Arabic, Bangla, Chinese, English, French, Haitian Creole, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and Urdu. You can also apply by phone at 718-935-2009, and interpretation on the phone is available in over 200 languages. And finally, you can apply in person at a Family Welcome Center, and you can search the sites of Family Welcome Centers at schools.nyc.gov/FWC. There is a Family Welcome Center located at 415 89th Street, between 4th and 5th Avenue. So here's some resources. So first, programs can be explored, like I said before, at myschools.nyc. If families have questions or concerns, they can call the same number for the application, so 718-935-2009, or families can send an email to esenrollment@schools.nyc.gov with questions or concerns regarding the application process. And then there's more information at schools.nyc.gov/kindergarten and /pre-K and /3K. So I definitely wanted to pause there if there are any questions around the G&T application process.
Can I just add that even if you've submitted the application, you can still edit that application up to January 20th. So don't feel like after you've submitted it, you can't change anything anymore. Because that I went through it. I saw that. I was very relieved.
Absolutely. And if you have any hard time or tech issues with things like that leading up to the deadline, to definitely leverage the tech support. So either calling the number or sending an email. And that's something that you parent coordinators in the pre-K centers, parent coordinators at our community-based programs that have pre-K and 3K can also support directly with that, and we can support with that in the office. But the number for tech support is the best way to go in case anyone encounters any issues with the My Schools website.
Can you change your school ranking?
Yes.
You can.
You can
Okay.
edit all of it.
So my question, and confirm if I'm not applying, so I don't know, but my understanding is the teachers will evaluate after you apply, and you have to apply first. Is that correct? And the teachers will evaluate the child, all the children who apply, and determine if they're recommended or not. Is that correct?
I believe that's the process, but I'll have to just
It is.
to double check
Yeah,
with
it is. Yeah.
ES enrollment.
Yeah. And so that's just challenging, right? Because then how soon do the teachers have to provide the evaluation? Because that's to the point I was asking Jen about. If it turns out you don't get evaluated, I would like to think you could still get in and change schools. So that sounds good, as long as they can get the evaluation back before the 20th.
There haven't been any information or date set around the evaluation process. We're just in the application process.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the superintendent program because another student and my son was asking me, like, they were doing better in their classes and they were getting higher grades. So they were asking their counselor to put them into the superintendent program, but there was no space for them. So what about these kids that want to go into the superintendent program when they did better and they, got progressively better in grades?
From the district level, currently there is no superintendent program from the district level. The superintendent program was a district-wide screened process that occurred and was paused when we paused screened admissions in the department during 2020, during the pandemic. So with the restart of the screening process at admissions, we started with 3 programs, one at 259, one at 201 here, and the program at Krista McAuliffe. Any other programs that
I think it was the Regents program. So that's what they were asking about.
Got it. So
Sorry about that.
No problem. So any program that's beyond that screened process for admissions is going to be a class or a program, like a Regents class or something that the school that the child is attending is currently, conducting. So any questions around, what the opportunities that a child is or isn't being provided currently should be directed to the school's parent coordinator or the principal.
The school said they had no space for them, like for them to be in the Regents class.
Okay.
So I was just wondering about kids that want to be in the Regents class.
Got it. I've been working with middle school principals since the beginning of last year around strategic ways to support the expansion of opportunities specifically for Regents classes. And we've been able to, and I'm going to share actually a little bit around the tutoring and enrichment opportunities. So last year we were able to increase the number of children who were taking the Regents and passing the Regents at similar passing rates that we had pre-pandemic. And this year we've been able to even expand those opportunities even more. So for example, at this school, they were able to program for 4 times the amount of children they were able to add for last year. However, that being said, there are, for the Regents specifically, in order for a child to be able to qualify for Regents credit in 8th grade, they have to have 2 things. One, they have to be programmed for a class that is specifically programmed for the Regents for a certain number of hours for the year. And they also have to sit for the test, and they cannot sit for the test if they aren't programmed for that class. So a lot of planning has to go into place in order for the child to be able to qualify for the Regents because it's a high school level class.
So that's a state
requirement.
That's right. That's right. So, and in middle school, not every class is programmed for the Regents because it's a high school level of credit rather than the 8th grade level. So it has to be specially programmed, and in order for the child to be able to qualify for it. So it's not a class that you can transfer a child in mid-year, for example, in most cases.
On the number of kids who qualify and couldn't get in because there was not enough seats.
No, I wouldn't say that we have any hard data on the demand. That's something that we're really working with the principals to be able to see what they have increased capacity for, how we can use strategic programming to create more space where they feel like there's the potential for more and be able to offer those, but it has to happen on a year-to-year basis. So this year, based off of the increased number of children who were able to take it and looking at the current state of the teachers, the spaces, and the time during the day to be able to offer it, many of our schools are increasing this number by offering it in the morning, offering it as an after school, in addition to the regular school day, to add the opportunity. And that's just purely, sometimes that's just, this isn't a specific example, but like if I only have 5 math teachers in the school, I have to have a licensed math teacher to teach the class. And there's only so many hours of the day that those licensed math teachers are available to do teaching of anything. So there are certain constraints that they're working within in order to provide the opportunity. So it's something we're constantly looking at. But we've really been pushing principals to find wherever possible, and they've been rising to the challenge. They've been finding ways to add more seats and more opportunities for kids. So we're going to continue looking at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But I understand it's not the answer that you're looking for.
No,
Yeah.
the student was asking because they were doing progressively well and they couldn't get into a Regents class. So I'm just saying it's bad for those kids that really want to do it.
The
And
good
there's no space.
The good news is that for an 8th grader who's improving is they're improving, which is great. And the Regents class is not a requirement. It's required in high school, but it's not a requirement for 8th grade. But the good news is that we do have principals looking at, 6th graders and 7th graders who are making that similar type of growth to see would these be, potentials for children who might be, ready for it in 8th grade, and seeing how they can do their programming and looking at their teachers to see where it's possible to offer that to an increased amount of kids. No problem.
David, I just have a couple more questions back to G&T for a minute. What to do about, this whole thing of using teacher evaluations? And by the way, I was just looking online, and it appears that there's no firm dates, but it says offers are in the spring of 2023.
Yeah.
After the applications are submitted and eligibility is determined, all eligible applicants are considered for offers. So there's really no strict timeline for when the evaluations happen. But, we've heard, I think it's safe to say that, the evaluations are pretty subjective. And I understand a number of times we share feedback with you, and I just want this feedback to be heard because you have different teachers, you have different classrooms, different schools. You have some teachers who may not strongly support gifted and talented. What can we do about that? How can families make sure that their kid is getting fair consideration with such an inherently subjective process?
So the department and the Office of Enrollment provides training on the implementation of the evaluation tool to all teachers who utilize the tool. So all teachers are provided with the same information and the same training around how to utilize the tool to conduct the evaluation. So with that, that's the method for how we do go about providing to address this concern around subjectivity, as we would with the implementation of any other tool.
What's the tool? Can we see it?
It's not something that's publicly available. It's something that's operated through the Office of Enrollment and with DOE staff who train the teachers.
Is it like a questionnaire? Or it's just given to the teachers. They don't sit with the kid at all in the determination, or do they sit with the kid and ask them some questions? And
I can't speak to the specifics around the tool and how it's used to evaluate the children once they've applied.
okay.
But I can, definitely escalate that up to the Office of Enrollment.
Yeah, please.
And
It would just be good to know how that process works, because I think a lot of parents are wondering how it works. And
Mhm.
they're concerned that they want it to be as fair as possible for their child.
the information that I have been given around the tool has been that it's developed using a research-based process to ensure that all children are being evaluated by the same criteria. And to the point of around the concern around subjectivity, that all teachers are trained in the usage of it so that it's communicated to be utilized in the same fashion with all children.
Okay. And correct, there will be a lottery associated with this too, right? Like if you've got more qualified applicants for seats, there's going to be a lottery, right? For the kindergarten application.
I believe that I'll have to double check, but I believe that it's the same scenario that is happening with middle school applications is going to happen with. So if there are more applicants than seats in a particular program, that after all the priority levels go through, but I could double check and make sure. And that's another question that we can raise up to ES
And
enrollment.
when you do raise it, please, we would like to know the numbers, the same way that they made the enrollment numbers public for high schools. We think that should be made public. All families should know their number, because that will help them ranking 12 schools.
I know that in the middle school application, and so I'm not sure if it would happen any differently in the kindergarten, but I know in the middle school application process that the lottery number is listed on the My Schools account under a student's and a family's information page. Like that lottery number is listed.
And if we could make it for kindergarten too, that would be great for everything. If there's going to be a lottery, it would just help parents to know their position. And as far as like the evaluation goes, is that just a thumbs up, thumbs down, either you're qualified or you're not, or is there any scoring that goes into the evaluation, the teacher evaluation?
I can't speak specifically on the different criteria, but there is more than one criteria. It's not a yes or a no.
Okay. So yeah, I would love to see that. I think a lot of parents would love to know more about the criteria, the tool, I think, as you say.
Actually, can I jump in
Go
for a
ahead,
second?
Kevin. Yeah, please.
I'm just wondering, will the criteria be open to public? Like, how do we assess it? From what area we assess a kid?
It was not public last year. I'll definitely let the enrollment office know that the request is still there, and I'll let you know exactly what they say. And you can also ask directly to this ES enrollment website email address. But I will inquire directly as well.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
And then for next year, this is early days, but I think a lot of us feel, and I think it would be best for families if there was some objective measure introduced, and iReady, state tests, something like that. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions from council members for the superintendent?
I have one more slide just around the tutoring.
Okay. Any other questions on these topics for David? Good. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and I have concern around the subjectivity of the evaluation, whether that lottery numbers will be provided, will the evaluation tool be made public, and there's a desire for a more perceivably objective tool.
We'll say that many times between now and next fall for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, we've been doing some research around the different programs that are being provided to children in the district before, after, and on weekends and holidays. This originated from a request around just how are we supporting children with tutoring. So we've been doing like an exhaustive as possible inventory of programs that are being offered in the district. And this is not a final list. As schools are offering or opening programs in January and February, as they typically would, this happens a lot with weekend and holiday programs. But this is where we're at right now. So what I've done is just kind of divided this by the time of day being before, after, or weekends and holidays. I did not include during the school day because that's just it's going to be a lot. So I felt like this is a place to start. The number of schools that are offering currently before, after, or on the weekends, and then the type. So for before school, there's at least 20 schools that are providing different enrichment or tutoring opportunities for children. The tutoring includes specifically for literacy and math. We also have Regents classes that are being operated before school. But then we also have some others, STEM or science, technology, engineering, and math enrichment opportunities, social emotional opportunities, various clubs, language clubs, arts clubs, a lot of different clubs are happening before school. We have yoga and mindfulness happening in schools in the AM. You'll also see Title III ENL. So we have Title III ENL programs being operated. Title III are federal funds that are allocated to schools specifically to support students who are English language learners for tutoring opportunities and language development that have to happen in addition to the regular school day. So these happen, schools operate them before school, they operate them after school, and they operate them on weekends and holidays. And then finally, we have some sports happening in the morning. And then after school, there's more. So right now we've been able to verify 34 schools that are operating after school programs. These are after school programs that the school is operating, not a CBO like NIA or CAMBA or BCA or something like that. So same thing, we've got ELA and math, we've got Regents. We also have several schools offering SHSAT prep as an after school program. We have what we call test sophistication, but these are going to be after school programs that specifically support students for the ELA and math test, and then also for the NICESLAT test. The NICESLAT test is a very involved process. There's speaking and listening as well as reading and writing. So it's kind of so it's good to get the kids to understand how the test goes so that they're prepared for it. We have a lot of language clubs. So children getting foreign language. We have Mandarin, Spanish, and definitely at least Mandarin, Spanish, just off the top of my head, where children are able to get kind of like foreign language class after school. Tons of clubs. And then specifically homework help. We have a lot of schools that have an after school program that is specifically for homework help. Like I got assigned homework this week. I'm having a hard time with it. And I can go either as a scheduled student or in some cases an opt-in. Like I want to go on, I know it's happening on this day and I want to go and get some help from somebody, but I don't necessarily have to go every day. It depends on the school, but we do have a lot of schools offering that type of homework help. And then tutoring. And I think the difference between the tutoring and the homework help, and this is going to be much more assigned and a smaller group, is going to be the difference between the homework help and the tutoring. But we do have some schools that are offering after school programs specifically to tutor much smaller groups of students, not all, but some. And then obviously I put clubs again because there's a lot of clubs happening in our after school programs. The arts, so a lot of our dance, theater, band, chorus, those types of programs, in addition to schools that are operating them during the school day, a lot of them happen after school. And then all of the CBO programs are another separate piece that incorporate a lot of these same things, but aren't provided by a school staff. And then the weekend and holiday programs, again, and there will be more to add to this once we come back from the break. A lot of schools work to verify that staff are available, that they're able to provide how many staff, so how many, depending on the number of staff, that's the number of children they're able to advertise to, invite. And many of our schools target specific students, student populations, how students have done on previous exams, to be able to invite to these programs to provide support. Also, the grand majority of our middle schools offer SHSAT prep. That was, and I know that was a big question from the council. So between the after school and the weekend or holiday programs, there's more. I'm not going to say there's more service than demand, but there's we have a lot of opportunities for children to get prep for SHSAT within the schools. And then these homework help Title III and L programs. So I'll continue to monitor this list. Principals know that we're looking to track and communicate to the community around how it's happening at the district level. And so I'll continue to update this where possible and appropriate, but I definitely anticipate adding some more with the weekend and holiday programs, because as funding comes into schools, as schools are able to find staff that are available to do the programs, they put them in place. Yeah. I'm sorry, the nicest lot. So New York State English Learner Test. So the New York State English as a Second Language Test. So every student who is identified as a student who's an English language learner has to take this nicest lat test. And based off of their performance on the nicest lat, the student is identified at a particular level of having acquired English. Students who are designated as an English language learner and have to take the nicest lat in their first year of being identified as an English language learner do not have to take the New York State English Language Arts exam. But in year 2 and every year afterwards, they have to take the English Language Arts exam as well as the nicest lat. And then students who are designated as an English language learner have to take the New York State math test in the first year and every year afterwards. So because of the nature of, and the difference between the nicest lat test, which does have a one-on-one speaking and listening component, as well as a written component and a reading component, principals and teachers find it really beneficial to provide, preparation for that environment, because it's such a different environment in order to take the entire exam. And the administration of the exam occurs over because it's one-on-one in some cases, and then whole class in other cases for different components. We start working with the children in late April, early May, and it goes all the way through the beginning of June. Yep.
David, I'm sorry. When you described the ELA and math programs here, were those, can you just quickly give 10 seconds, what were those again? And I just want to compare them to some of the other ones.
Oh, the ELA and math is going to be support for children in those subject areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so let's put those in the bucket with homework help and tutoring. So you got ELA, math, you got homework help, tutoring, all kind of comparable type things, right? Do we have a way of sort of looking at, the schools in the district where these are offered, and then the schools that, on the iReady maybe were scoring lower on the iReady? Can we make sure that we're matching up these type of programs with some of the schools where the need is greatest?
Being able to that's a great question. So like being able to provide the program is a combination of funding and staff who are available to do it. And then usually in most cases that I have seen, there will be a resource that a teacher would use to be able to, support children in the ELA or the math, something that would be similar or definitely aligned to the standards that the children are going to take during an exam or otherwise in that grade level, ideally, but also to really support children where they are in those areas.
Right.
And schools use iReady as one of the kind of primary methods for identifying children who they want to invite or kind of focus in and target to be able to provide that level of support to children, which would be different than homework help, in that homework help is typically something that's kind of open to what the child needs help on. It's not going to be like the teacher is not typically going to have something prepared for to teach the child. Rather, they're going to be working with the child based off of what they're going to be bringing to homework help.
Right. It's not, I understand. It's not called iReady help. it's called homework. I get it.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it. But again, the general point is I would hope that we can look around the district and see at the schools where there's need, the need is greatest, that we do have supplementary programs. Because I think the original question about a lot of this comes from the effect of the pandemic had was disproportionate, right, on certain schools, certain populations.
Mhm.
We just want to make sure that we're getting the programs and the resources to the right places.
Absolutely. And when schools provide their overall descriptions of the students that they're looking to support in AM programs and after school programs, invariably it's around students who are struggling, scoring low, who are students with disabilities. Obviously, the Title III programs are all for students who are English language learners. But then in addition to that, some of the AM and PM programs that are not necessarily funded with Title III dollars are still, targeting students who are English language learners as well to support their development. It's all around helping students get to standard.
When is the
for
next?
those programs.
Yeah, when is the next? I think it's I think it's like now-ish, right?
January is going to be when we start administering the mid-year. Mhm.
For this program, it's not every school has it, but it's there for big one. So is that only for the student in this school?
That's, yeah, usually it is the program that's happening in that school is going to be offered to the students who are in that school, but not always. We do have after school programs where children from other schools or from the community are welcome to participate. It's not a hard and fast rule, but in general, children who attend the school are offered the programs that happen at that school. And usually, and honestly, usually for like logistics, sometimes it's just not reasonable for a child who attends this school to be able to travel over to this other school to get to the program. Like that's usually like the biggest barrier.
Yeah, but some school is closed. Some school because doesn't provide a
Mhm.
program, and the next maybe a couple block away, the school have NEP program. Is the other student be able to attend?
It happens. There are instances where children who attend a school that's like a couple blocks away from another school. This happens a lot with CBOs who have room for children from other schools to attend that program. They'll have like a kind of a walking school bus type of system where they'll send staff over to one school and support transport and pick the kids up and bring them over. So that does happen. Yeah.
Are these programs all by invitation or the student can apply?
Both. So both. I think there are some that there are some by invitation. There are some that you have to be a specific demographic of student to be able to attend, like the ENL program. Like you have to be an English language learner to attend the program. But other programs are children can pick and go, and that's especially for the clubs. In general, the clubs are like interest based. Like kids want to apply, not always, but usually. So for example, like a band program, the children, a lot of times there's a tryout for a band program that has a high number of kids. For some of our chess programs, sometimes there's the chess program where everybody gets to play. And then there's the group where you kind of have to test in because that's the group that's scheduled to like compete in the national thing, but they'll try to provide both. Any other questions? All right. Gonna stop my share.
That was all I had. Right?
Yeah.
Did you want to announce the?
Oh, and I also want to announce that, and I will bring her to the next meeting in January. But I do want to announce that we do have a new interim acting principal at PS 200, the Benson School, and her name is Danielle Nola. She just started literally like a few days ago. So I will bring her to the next meeting to introduce to the council. Yes. So we had a principal retire, and we've replaced the retired principal with a new principal.
Muniz?
Javier Muniz. Yes.
You say it's interim?
Yes. When a new principal is placed into a school, they're called an interim acting principal. until the official C30 process has been initiated and they're officially, until a principal is officially appointed in the position. She's the, but like, long story short, she's the principal.
There's a process.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask, was this a surprise to you? The retirement?
Oh, I can't comment on the process.
Thank you very much, David. Next up, I will just have a couple announcements. Bear with me while I pull up my screen. As I've been saying for a couple meetings now, I just want to let everyone know, all parents know, that the CEC elections will be starting next year. The procedure, for those who aren't aware, is to use your, every parent should make sure they have a NYXA account, New York City Schools account. I think almost everyone, I think District 20 has a very high rate of compliance on that, because that's the account you will use to vote. And your parent coordinator can help you set that up if you don't have one. As for those who may not know, the CECs are sort of the advisory councils with some limited powers that represent the K through 8, pre-K through 8 schools in a district. The dates to keep in mind are January 9th to February 13th application period. Then there will be candidate town halls from February 27th to April 20th. And then from April 21st to May 9th will be the voting. And I will just post those key dates in the chat. And then I will, the link to help sign up for a NYXA account posted in the chat as well. And then just let's talk, it's kind of the season for the SCA capital project requests. Our members, council members are busy reaching out to schools for liaison visits. That should hopefully always include a discussion of any capital needs. These will all be submitted for in time for our January meeting. So any principals on the meeting tonight, make sure to let your liaison know about your capital project needs. In addition, our administrative assistant, Kevin, will send out an email next week to all the principals requesting your top priority, or you can really send us any projects you want. We get lists of 5 and 6 projects sometimes. Then at our January meeting, we will rank the submissions and send it to the SCA. Just a reminder, this process supplements the ongoing work the SCA does. It's a chance for community input into capital projects. It does not replace any sort of critical projects that the SCA has on its own schedule, its own agenda. And then just to share from last year, I think it helps to give everyone a sense of just be realistic about this. Last year, we submitted 30 requests and we got approved on 4, and we got one additional one was approved under Resolution A, which is another funding stream. And that's not uncommon. In the several years I've been doing this, it's usually a small number get approved. And typically, anyway, just last year, the SCA approvals were bathroom renovations, upgraded classroom doors, and then 2 upgraded water fountain projects. In addition, the Resolution A project was a technology upgrade. Resolution A is separate from the SCA, from our process. It's funding that's available from elected officials. It's typically better for smaller projects, things like classroom upgrades, playgrounds, landscaping. What I always like to tell people is basically anything that provides a good photo opportunity for an elected official when the project is completed. A very good source to go to is the borough president's office. So Borough President Reynoso, the borough president always has Resolution A funding available. Their office has told me they're currently finalizing application information for this year and expect to have it completed in the next few weeks. There's a capital funding fact sheet from last year that describes the process. We've been told it will be similar this year. We don't have the deadline for the borough president's Resolution A funding, but last year it was February 24th. And then in addition, city council members also have Resolution A funding available. So any schools can also, should also, and we're happy to help in this process, reach out to their city council member for potential Resolution A funding for a project. Those are the only two comments I wanted to make. Yeah, I think that's it. And then we're going to have Yona Isufi is just going to make a brief comment. Yona, can you hear me? And are you able to unmute? I should say council member Yona Isufi.
Hi, good
Yona.
afternoon. Yes, okay, so hi everyone. I would like to announce that hopefully starting in January, I will be part of the DOE's citywide wellness advisory council. Unfortunately, I do not have a lot to report on. However, given that the next half of the year will be the last 6 months as a CEC member, I thought it was a good idea to take advantage of this opportunity. We often, as parents, receive a lot of information about the wellness programs, about announcements or different workshops. So I am really delighted to start working with that group. They have reached out to me, but I have not had any meetings as of yet. Hopefully in the next CEC meeting, I can give you a more proper update. But personally, I think that being able to serve in the CEC also gives us an opportunity to work with other areas that try to reach out to parents. So it will consist of a monthly meeting for the next 6 months. And depending on where those dates will fall, I will gladly give you guys an update. Thank you.
Thanks, Yona. Now we are going to have 3 council members just give brief reports on their school liaison visits. And we'll start with Joyce Shi.
Can you hear me? Yeah, this is Joyce. Thank you for honor principal and assistant principal and parent coordinator support. So thank you for giving me.
Sure. Mic up, Joyce. You don't have to, it's pretty loud. So you just,
I'm gonna scream for.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Joyce. Thank you for all the principal and the assistant principal and parent coordinator support. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity for visit your school. I went to JHS 259, which is Mechanic Pre-K Center, which is located at 21 Bay 11th Street and PS 170. We talk about the enrollment funding, like capital funding and programs they offer. We also talk about what are the parents were concerned about and the school's challenge, and they also give us some opinion. The parent big concern about the safety issue is not inside the school building, is around the school, and the admission. Now, as Dr. Prito present tonight, we have like gift test program and the application for the kindergarten. So a lot of parent confusing about the process, and then the screen program for the admission too. The school's challenge mostly about for the middle school student, about the social media for the student, and the difficult of the controlling what students are doing on the social media and what are they posting. Also, school wants students to provide more in-depth to respond to the questions, think and describe the detail. Also, more in fact communicate with the parents. We want more parents get involved. Finally, the teachers also feel about stress about the new DOE system and who to ask for the help, because the DOE department regularization means they often have to ask several people to get the answer. So we also got one good idea from the pre-K center, which is from the parent coordinator Camila and the principal Norton. About the workshop we provide from the parents, describing parents' right, PTA, what's PTA mean, PA, and the CEC mean. Letting the parents know more about parent support is very important. So we're also talking about, as I mentioned at the beginning, from the funding. So two of the school-wide visit right now have submitted a capital project request. 259 want a library update or renovation to the regional library, because match on the IIM program doing the research program. And for PS 170, they want a schoolyard garden. Seeing there's only they want to provide only green garden in the community. So hopefully they will get approved. So I learned about a lot from this meeting. Thank you for letting me share. And I have one question from the Dr. Brito, because as I mentioned, only two of the schools submit an application for a capital project, because we want to know if the pre-K center can also submit in the capital project request.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And one thing I just want to echo, and David, I know this is not necessarily something you have time to focus on, but I think it just really bears mentioning, just like a lot of the teachers said, it's hard to, they have to talk to multiple different people and go to multiple different places to get answers on things. It's the same for us. It is such a difficult system at times. Kevin knows very well how difficult it can be with, things like the procurement office, of course, all the other departments that we interact with. It's just really, really difficult, even for basic things. And I know you're in your role, you do what you do, but if at any time you can sort of just share this, or make some change in these areas, just in terms of, you're very responsive. I wish the whole system worked that way, and it sounds like a lot of teachers do as well. So worth repeating.
I hear you. But whatever I can do or my office can do to help, cut through some of those things or answer some of those questions, my team is here to help cut through whatever can be cut through, so that the experience is listen, as a parent, I understand the complexity of the DOE, but I know that part of the chancellor's reorganization of district offices was to help parents be able to get more streamlined support and service regarding those types of things. So yeah, so please, wherever I can be helpful to cut through some of that stuff, please let me know.
And do you have a sense as to what the teachers, like Joyce was saying at one of the schools, there was the teachers were sort of sharing feedback that it's also similar kind of issues, you think, with sort of the reorg? And hard to say. Have you heard anything specific about what teachers are complaining about?
I meet with U of T monthly. I
Right.
hear about a broad range of concerns.
All right.
So it would depend on the concern. But I have encountered concerns with teachers that around, administrative or other kinds of things that were difficult to get through. And, my office has been working really hard to support, kind of closing those gaps for them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I have been made aware of stuff and we've been doing everything we can to support. And as the transition has moved on, some of those things have become, more clear and easier to solve, if that makes any sense.
Okay, thank you. Our next CEC member that will report is Liping Jiang. Liping.
She's mute. With some issues with the voice. Excuse me, there is like issues with the.
I didn't mute.
I think we back her attendance rate around 89% to 92%. Then the ELL programs, a distance program, bilingual programs, GDP programs. Her school big challenge is learning loss. She would like students more important at how to respond, answer questions with more details. PS205 school have basically equipped team. They will have a meeting once a month. They have 25 students in temporarily. The school Title I funding is being used to support STH food. PS205 used a community resource, BCA, to help STH. End of the sharing, I would like to thank our AA Kevin to help me make the appointment with the principal. Thank you, Joyce, to be with me. Thank you, PS205 principal at the time of me. And thank you, Cindy, for the Tuesday. And also thank you, the Steve, for what help even not behind. Thank you.
Joyce, or I'm sorry, Li Ping, and we also, can you shut this off? And yeah, thank you so much, Li Ping, for doing the visit. It's really, really good work. And then next up, we will have Elizabeth Chan.
Yeah, I forgot my paper, so I'm need to borrow Kevin's. I was able to talk some of my liaison school. First off was PS 69, and I talked to the principal there. And she wants us to be aware of the homeless problem in our area. Right. And she's talking about the illegal homeless encampment that all the students and parents and educators have to pass to get to school. And because her school intersects with PS 310, there's been elderly grandparents that have faced harassment from some of the homeless population. So she wants us to keep being aware of that problem. And she's also said funding for DYCD is needed so that the BCA program can allow more students, because they have 115 BCA seats and 615 students. And the schoolyard has broken concrete and asphalt that needs to be fixed. City council approved grant money that was awarded to them, but since the project got delayed, the contracted company expects the project to cost more, so she's asking for help in getting more funding. And it's a safety issue because they need to expand the doors coming in and out, and that is the only way for students and parents to get in and out. And we talked more, but this is the main points that she wanted to reiterate. And PS1 IS 163 Bath Beach, the Gerald Shapiro, the principal, said he still has an ongoing auditorium issue. It's leaking, and he's been asking since before 2019 to fix it, because it's a health and safety issue for his students. And he's asking that we get to it because he was awarded money for that. But in 2019, the people that were awarded, the bidders, stopped. I guess they didn't, I guess they couldn't finish the project or continue on with the project. So he's asking for help so the auditorium could be fixed. And, okay, I wasn't able to get in contact with the CL Academy or the other academy, but one more person that I was able to talk to was, well, 1 second. Pre-K for all, 7415 at Fort Hamilton Parkway, Daniel Bennett, the principal. They said they have no concerns, but they do need an additional playground in the front of 93rd Street facility. They were awarded a grant money, and so they would really appreciate the DOE or Brooklyn politician help push the project forward because they have the money, but the project is being halted because of, I guess, red tape. And okay, oh wait, what's my, sorry. So here are my thoughts on these issues. Maintenance of playground and schoolyard is a necessity because it's been proving that physical activity improves mental and physical well-being of our students and indirectly the well-being of the larger community. And we need these areas to be safe and secure. To be secure, they also have to monitor the homeless population that acts disruptive and unsanitary. Parents, students, and educators and others have a right to a safe atmosphere. And we also need police presence for unsafe drivers, especially when kids are going to school and leaving school. And we need more money for our after-school programs so more kids can benefit. And if there is extra money, programs to enrich the kids' life. And please maintain our school buildings, interior and exterior. And lastly, maybe there should be a daily class for students that miss the day because they are home with the flu, COVID, or RSV because, yes, I forgot, a lot of the schools mentioned that absences could be a problem. It's a district-wide program, like 40% of the population are missing school. Thank you.
I have 2 questions. What was the, wait, 69, you said BCA seats? You were talking about a program.
Yeah, BCA, like they wanted more funding for the DYCD.
It's a CBO that runs after school.
Yeah.
CBO program.
Runs
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
DYCD after school. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to verify.
Sorry.
And then it's interesting you say about, I know, I don't know if it, like her computers, I primarily want people to hear her response. I think that's okay, right? Sure. Let me clarify. It was interesting you said about 163 because Principal Shapiro, we had been thinking about having the meeting there in February, but he had said that the SCA was going to start working on the auditorium, so it wouldn't be available. But I'm sure you talked to him more recently. So
yes,
the project has not been, basically what I think he told, right? I just want to confirm. He said the project is not going forward at this point. Is that?
I believe so.
Interesting.
And yeah, he said he talked to Predo and he just wants it to keep, because it's been an ongoing issue for a long time.
Sure.
The leakage in the auditorium.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. It just struck me because we had specifically, and this was a couple months ago that he had told me, so a lot could have changed. Okay.
Yeah, because the more the structure maintenance repairs are being delayed, the more costly it is.
Yeah.
Because even 69 was complaining, like across the board, like the schools talking about like how the bid goes through, but then by the time they start work, it gets more expensive. Yeah.
And the way the world is too, prices and inflation.
So then a lot of them
Yeah.
are just asking for help to push the full projects forwards before they lose out on the money.
I just have noted to follow. I'm very well aware of the PS69 issue, but I can definitely follow up with 93rd Street PK Center and definitely at 20K 163 the auditorium. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Li Ping. Great reports.
Just one.
Go ahead, Kevin. Yeah.
You know, I thought it is the mention of
Yeah, no, I just want to mention that when I hear Elizabeth talking about the school ask for more police force for the safety reason, we hear the similar request from another school that Joyce visited me. And
that's why we have like lots of information.
so I think that was school McKinney, right? The McKinney. The principal mentioned that there were only 2 police staff that they have for the whole school. And the school is like, we are talking about like 1,600 students. And very often they only get 1 police staff over there. So it's just simply not sufficient. That's it. I just want to raise that up.
Yeah.
Because the reason why, because in the school, mostly time they prefer night too, but mostly time the prison will take off 1. So there's only 1 safety agent in the school mostly time. So that's why the principal is concerned. And when they call, because right now they give the safety agent is below to the prison. It's not gonna deal you can control. So we want to ask like Dr. Prito, is there any way, how can we figure out that school need more support, not just say your school is safety, so you don't need more.
So the safety agents don't necessarily work for the precinct. They work for school safety, and they are managed by the NYPD in partnership with the Department of Education, but they don't necessarily work for the precinct. They are assigned, schools are assigned a safety agent based off of the availability in the pool. The NYPD just graduated a class of a few hundred new safety agents, I believe, and they're looking to add additional possibilities for more training of new safety agents. As far as the concerns around safety in the community, what we have been communicating to our partners in the police department, elected officials, the DOE, and getting the feedback from families, the concern around safety has been in the surrounding community, not in the school. And the safety agent is assigned to the school building and supports school children, the school, physically the school building and the immediate perimeter. So like the sidewalk that surrounds the school, and that's it. So in terms of addressing safety concerns in the community, the safety agent isn't going to be the way that we would address the concerns that are happening out in the community. The safety agent would be the person that a community member could inform about a concern in the community that then could be communicated. They have a direct line to the NYPD and would be able to like call the police and inform them immediately over the radio. But the safety agent isn't going to be the person who is going to immediately, other than on the immediate perimeter, like the sidewalk outside of the school and inside the school building, that's where the safety agent is going to address issues. But outside the community, it's going to be, somebody other than the safety agent.
Yeah, we also, actually that was also discussed in the visit. So the first question is there are only 2 safety. The personnel over there is simply not enough even for in the school, as the principal mentioned. And in the second,
this is at 259, right?
Yeah, I cannot remember.
We can't remember.
Yeah. I cannot. I had to explain a name.
Yeah.
And another thing is that the interaction between the community safety and the school, because one example I personally brought up is that in the Staten Island earlier this year, there was a student fight that involved somebody pulled out the student fight on the school bus stop, which is outside of school but across the street, the bus stop. and then a gun was pulling out. But in that case, what should the school agency, safety agency do? And
Call
the timing.
Call the police. No matter how many safety agents are assigned to a school building, in a situation like that where a crime is being committed, gun or otherwise, 911 needs to be called immediately. That's the first action that anybody around should take. Yeah.
And then, David, I was just, can you unmute? You're unmuted.
For the safety issue, I also want to say when I went to the PS program, the principal say the schoolyard they have a fire from the outside, and the schoolyard sometimes have a neighbor although using the school bathroom, and she need the money for the project that's outside the camera for the safety. Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got the cameras.
No, exterior camera.
Yeah.
Or security camera.
Mm-hmm.
I thought is that every school required? I thought every school have like outside exterior security camera.
Not every school had. Sorry. Okay. So not every school has cameras installed in the building, either for the exterior or the interior. So the department and the Office of Safety and Youth Development does work closely with our principals and me to identify spaces that need them, as well as need upgrades to them. So PS 205 is one I don't know off the top of my head, but I could go back and take a look at the schools that we've been looking at in terms of the need for the cameras and where they would be in that. The camera systems are funded through a variety of ways. So that's something that I could definitely go back and take a look at. In terms of the other two things, you meant, I didn't know if I caught this right. Did you say that there was a community member using the bathroom or something?
Yeah, in the school, yeah.
Because they don't have okay. They don't have exterior like security.
That's terrible.
I'll follow up with the principal on that.
Have, like couple of weeks ago, there's a fighting, violence, and
Okay, I can follow up with the principal around those.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
now I have one more question. From the school visiting, two of my school, they offer dual language program, and we seen, because only maybe 1 and 2 class, we seen the need for this, because like as an example, on the PS 170 dual language program, they spend half time on the ELA, but their ELA score is higher than in the school. So we see is there any they will expand for the dual language program.
I am currently in the process of expanding the dual language programs in the district into middle school, so that children who, so currently we have plans in place to expand our Mandarin, Arabic, Italian, and Spanish dual language programs to be able to provide pathways for children in elementary school to go to a middle school that has the same program. That's one thing that we're in the process of doing for next year. And so as soon as those are solidified and in the solidified in options for children, we'll notify families so that would be the opportunity to apply to those programs. And that would be, obviously, since they would be new programs, they would be past the original middle school process deadline, but families would have the opportunity to apply to those since they would be new programs. So I'll definitely keep everybody informed on our progress there. And then in terms of expanding existing dual language program opportunities. I'm always looking at that. I think I heard you describe how students who were in the dual language program at 170 were performing higher on the ELA test than children who are in the single language class, the typical general underclass, and that is true. And we do have larger research around how children in dual language programs do outperform monolingual peers in the same school, the same setting, on the same test. So we're always looking for, and frankly, we have one of the celebrations of this district is that we have a really multilingual community, and we have a lot of children and families who speak a lot of different languages. So wherever dual language is the type of program that really celebrates the home language, the native language, the first language, the L1 we call it, while also supporting development of English. We find that the brain research shows how children who are bilingual have some increased neural pathways. It's in general a good thing that we see for children to learn more than one language. So I'm looking wherever possible to expand those opportunities. Demand is a huge thing. So where families really want the programs, it's something that really helps us to expand, and also being able to find children who are who need the language support or service in one language, and also the desire from children who are English speakers to take on a second language. Whether it be, we offer Arabic, Spanish, Italian, Mandarin, and Russian in the district. So where children are interested in that, that's also a key factor in being able to expand the programs. But I say all that to say, I'm always looking for opportunities to expand those opportunities.
David?
Yeah.
Just to clarify, the Russian dual language.
Yes, the Russian program at PS 200 is still in place, and there's no plans to make any changes there.
David, there's one question from the chat from a little while ago. Are there any other upcoming principal changes expected in the district?
When I have an announcement around any new principals, I'll definitely bring them to the council and announce them.
Okay, so as of now, no, I'm just, this chat question, I'm just asking. So no other schools right now that are expecting new, that have interim principals now and you're looking to fill or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Okay. I think we're all set. Concludes your report, concludes all the liaison reports. Now we can move on to, my right, public speaking. Let me just check my agenda. Yes, public speaking. I will just go over the public speaking procedure again. We will first take any members who are here in person. If anyone in person would like to speak. We do? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, great, awesome. I wasn't sure. And it's a 3-minute speaking time. And if you could just announce name and where you're from, that'd be great.
My name is Peter. I'm here to speak against the funding resolution. I'm here to speak on all the working parents who can't make it, and all the parents who reside in what I think are the 6 boroughs, people who live in 6%. The homeless as if they're from another planet. But in the last year, that included more than 100,000 kids in our schools. And those are our neighbors. And it could be anyone. You interact with people of no fixed address, New York City, every single day. A long time ago, in another lifetime, not so long ago that it doesn't still sting, that included me. I lived in an apartment where the landlord cut the water, cut the heat, I didn't have family in the city. All of my housemates moved out. We didn't even have a back door. It had an iron fence for security. So the outside temperature was the inside temperature. And when temperatures dropped to single digits and I saw the water in the toilet bowl start to freeze over, I realized I had to get out of here. I was in grad school. Went to grad school, spent a day at school. I closed the library. And when I got home, my key no longer worked. And that was the beginning of 8 months. And if you knew me at the time, you wouldn't have had any idea that I was homeless, because I didn't tell people. It could be any of you tomorrow. Go to work in the morning, there could be a fire or a flood, or maybe you're living with a mean drunk, and you find yourself trying to figure out where you and your kids are going to stay. The Fair Student Funding Formula proposes not to take away any principal's discretion. It is going to target funds to go to schools and students who need it most. And this resolution argues for an unfair student funding formula. It argues to give more resources to schools that already have more than they're entitled to. It's been documented, it's been reported publicly about the bonus system that goes to these schools. This resolution cannot be defended pedagogically, legally, fiscally, or morally. It is a disgrace, and anyone who supports it should be ashamed. Thank you.
We will now take any public comments from anyone who's signed up using the Google form. And if Kevin,
Yeah, so so next we have Paulette Healy. If Paulette Healy is here.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I mean, I could.
Sorry, just give me one moment.
Sure.
yep, to amplify for the whole, yep, hold on.
Can
Just
I
one
can I
moment,
start?
please.
Sure. Let me know when I can start.
Good. We're all good. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to thank wholeheartedly the speaker that just spoke before me, who waited over an hour and 46 minutes to talk about his lived experience of what it felt like to be unhoused in our own community, and amplifying the fact that we have in the system right now that even prior to the influx of asylum seekers, we have over 150,000 homeless students within our school systems attending pre-K all the way to high school right now. And being a member of the Fair Student Funding Working Group and living in this community, as I had said in November's meeting, no outreach has been made to myself or any of the members of the Fair Student Funding Task Force to ask us about clarity on why we came to these recommendations. No one is talking about the increase in base allocation, which would actually increase $250,000 to every school in order for them to be able to hire a social worker and a school nurse without having to look at school budgets in order to do so. No one is talking about how in this present model, the McKinney-Vento Act of funds that come from Title I only provide a provision of an average of $25 per student in temporary housing in terms of support. So it is a much needed weight that we need to provide for our unhoused students right now. They have been dealt a horrible hand in terms of circumstances and life experience, and we cannot continue to turn our nose and turn our backs on the particular challenges of this specific special population. And it is no coincidence that a majority of the people living in temporary housing are also students with disabilities, students with IEPs, and students who need language assistance because they don't have access to it. I don't want to spend any more time belaboring this because I've already said this in November's meeting. What I would like to highlight is the fact that normally in December, outreach is supposed to be done by the CEC to our schools, the 46 schools in our district, about capital projects that we would like to request the CEC consider for our district? And that hasn't happened. The only reason our leaders, our parent leaders know that this is our window is because of President's Council and DPAC meetings. I have a DPAC training next week on how parents can submit a capital project proposal to the CEC for consideration and how to escalate that in order to be funded through our local officials. That should be something that we should be focusing on right now, considering that the window closes January 10th prior to your January meeting. So when is that decision going to happen? We have an entire 2 weeks off because of holiday. Are you guys really going to tell me you're going to come back from holiday and go through the multiple proposals your schools are submitting? Or are you just banking on the fact that nobody knows about this window and you only have 5 to put through? That is what we need to prioritize. Where is the actual community outreach from the CEC? Okay, nothing is that you're presenting right now is reflective of the needs of our communities, and our community members that are here are watching and they are asking for it, and they want to know why they can't contact their liaisons right now because the information isn't available.
Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Suzanne Schwenk.
Hi, this is Susan Zhuang. I'm Assemblyman William Colton's chief of staff. I really appreciate the CEC 20's member really very active, and I don't see from the other CEC board members. For the whole meeting, I was here. I hear there are 3 types of things I hear. The first, we don't have enough budget. Also, I want to inform you, New York City Council just passed. They're going to cut more budget next year. So just be aware of it. And Assemblyman Colton, we already start talking what we're going to do to help all the schools in the community. How do we increase funding for the community schools? Because everyone knows here need to fix, there need to fix. Even the number of students reduced, but the expense for the school did not change. Not because there are 2 less students in this class, school will have less expense. The school budget cut is wrong. We need to protest that. We cannot let that happen again next year. That's the first thing I hear about money. Every school needs fix, every school needs money. I will talk to Assemblyman Colton, see what he can do in the state level. Hope more city council will do something for the community schools. The second thing is public safety. When the students get out of school, there's not enough, I think it's not enough school crossing guard. And also there's a lot of parents talk to me about this issue. I'm going to address this issue with local precincts. And the third issue I see here is better system. We need a better system. We cannot let teachers or parents be running around. This issue is not only in education department, it's in all the department we face on. From constituents come to our office, we see that not only in education, even building department give us running around everywhere as the same thing. We need a system more efficient and able to resolve people's issue. That's the 3 priority. I'm going to talk to Assemblyman Colton and see what he can do to help our community. And I do think for the second public safety issue, there are some schools, they have parents as a volunteer. After the school dismissed, their volunteer help the crossing guard. Maybe some parents coordinator can coordinate that in some schools. Just some advice, not necessarily you have to do that, but I definitely will talk to different
precincts. Time is up, sorry. That's 3 minutes.
Okay, then that's what I like to make.
Okay. Next speaker. Okay. So we will now, I'm on, right? So we will now discuss and then discuss the resolution that's up tonight.
Could I say something?
Yeah, related to the resolution. We'll all have a chance.
Oh, just right now related to what people were saying.
We typically don't. Like,
All right, because I kind of feel like I don't want the community to have assumptions of us as CEC members of the way people are attacking us. Because when I'm talking about the homeless population, I'm not talking against anybody. I'm just talking about the mentally ill and the disruptive ones that are not giving our kids and our parents a safe environment or atmosphere to be in. And there's a bad assumption in other districts that the CEC members of District 20 are rich. But so I'm just letting you know that a lot of us do understand the homeless population, our students, but when I'm talking about the homeless, the ones that pee in front of my kids, like my kids have the right to walk to school without having to see somebody's naked body. And that's all I just wanted to add.
Okay, we'll now discuss the resolution that's up tonight. I'm just going to share my screen. I'll share it. Bear with me. Okay. I'm going to introduce this resolution. It's a resolution opposing the Fair Student Funding Working Group recommendations. The working group, this is a very important task. This is something that should definitely be done, is examine how the budget, the New York City school budget, how effective it is, how it works, how it can it be improved. What this resolution says is they didn't do a good enough job of that. And we'd like them to go back to the drawing board and do it a different way. This resolution does not say, we don't think we should fund our schools. This resolution does not say students who need support shouldn't get support. We all think students who need support should get support. There's a lot of factors that go into student educational outcomes. There's a lot of mixed research on correlation between spending and educational outcomes. There's a lot of different factors that are involved in instruction and sort of setting and location. All the stuff we talk about all the time. New York City already spends the most money per student of any large school district in the country. And I'm just going to share this chart here that shows the largest, it's from the largest 100 school districts across the country. New York City is number one. We spend $29,000 per student. And it's not just because we're higher cost of living, the two are related. If you're spending more for your public services, your cost of living is going to go up. So it's just something to keep in mind as we talk about funding. And that's something that has to be, all parents should have a right to say, are the schools making the best use of the money, the funding that they're getting? And that's what this resolution is asking. This resolution says the Fair Student Funding Working Group's changes, recommended changes. Right now, the system already spends, the system is already set up to allocate more money to students who are in sort of have higher learning needs, students with disabilities, ELL students, all good things. This would keep the existing system and add more weights onto it. And what we're saying is that there wasn't any proof, and there's a lot of tools you can use. There's a lot of policy analysis tools. There's a lot of data analysis tools that you can use to show if the increase in spending for different categories has had the desired effect over the years, because now we have many years of using the Fair Student Funding formula. There's a lot of other cost benefit analysis, program evaluation tools. But the problem, if anyone, for those who have read the report, is it's very short on this kind of analysis. So that's the one big point. And then the second big point that we really disagree with is the recommendation to cut funding to the portfolio academic high schools. These are specialized high schools, Staten Island Tech, Brooklyn Tech, a number of other high schools around the city. These were the only schools selected for a funding cut in the proposal. That's it. Obviously, they're targeting schools that support students with advanced learning levels. And by the way, these schools do not have high shares of students with disabilities, ELL students. That's well known. As a result, they are funded at the lowest per capita rates in the city. If you look at compared to all other high schools, all high schools get about $20,000 a student. These schools get $13,000. Obviously, other high schools have higher needs, but the question is why target the schools that are already funded about 35% less? So our ask is just that this comes up for a vote. I believe it's either April or May at the panel for educational policy, but the DOE is going to be making the rounds of CECs starting in January to engage on this. And so what we would just like to say is this report wasn't sufficient, didn't sufficiently answer the question of how can the DOE best spend its money. We'd like a new working group that includes some experts in data analysis, a new work group to use data analysis techniques to determine if the current system of funding schools is optimal, is working as good as it should or not. And then if we have some real concrete evidence of effectiveness, some predictive equations, the group can recommend reforms and replacements. So that's my introduction to the resolution. Would any other members like to speak about the resolution? Jen.
So what was that? Okay, yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay. So basically, I just want to point out that we don't ask for fiscal responsibility, nor do we ask about proof of effectiveness when we talk about funding for G&T classes and specialized high schools. But we're asking of this here. And on top of that, I do agree with Paulette that she has a right to address the public and address directly any concerns and questions that we may have had before we put out a resolution that rejects all of the recommendations altogether. I think that's a very drastic step. I think there's some value to that report, and rejecting it in its entirety is unfair to the people who worked on it, and also unfair to people who really need this funding. Thank you.
Go ahead, Marie.
There are lots of children, youths that attend the specialized high schools that were ELL learners, but they tested out of it by high school age. So I think that, just my comment goes to, they don't have a lot of ELL learners, but they do. They're just tested out and they don't get the English support any longer. But that doesn't mean that they're not immigrant population. They're not, newcomers to the United States. They are just by high school age. Oftentimes they're so proficient that they no longer receive support. So they're not counted as English language learners.
Thanks, Marie. Would any other council members like to speak on the resolution?
Yep, may I?
Yep, go ahead, Kevin.
I just want to emphasize, yes, I just want to emphasize that one point in the resolution. I mean, the per student capita in those schools is already about 30% below the average, citywide average. So I really do not see the reason I mean, I know we might need the money here and there, but I don't see a reason to cut it further down in the school that is with less money, but have a higher performance. Instead of cutting the budget, and I think maybe it should be a place for us to be as a model to improve our educations in the city.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other members like to speak?
I think people have the assumption that those specialized school has a lot of money because I believe they get a lot of donations from corporations. But corporations probably donate to them because they're known as the best of the best. And we should keep them as like, you know, the pinnacle of what students could achieve in a way so that, you know, internationally we'll be well respected for our education. All I have to say.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Jen, would you be open to discussing your vote, or is your mind made up?
Does it matter?
Yeah, sure, because we could talk more, like a congressional floor, congressional debate. But it's fine if not. We don't have to belabor anything.
It's okay, we can vote.
Okay. Let me just take a quick look here.
I mean, just to clarify, I don't agree with cutting specialized high school funding, but I also I feel like we should also not be unfairly penalizing students who have higher needs. I just want to make sure that everybody gets what they need. And I just feel like the way that we're phrasing everything just feels like it's this limited thing and, you know, people can't all, you know, have what they need. When I don't think that that's necessarily true. I do think some of the recommendations have value. So I really want to I don't want to reject it all at once.
Right.
You know?
No, I hear you. I understand the points you're making. You know, by the way, back to your first comment, I certainly do ask for proof of effectiveness on G&T and specialized. And David knows I ask a lot of questions about scoring in the district and iReady and where are we going and can we make this better. This is unique because this is really a large citywide decision, and there's a lot of data there that we could study, and there's a lot of the data is available, and it's available in a way that could be used to actually do some explanatory analysis. And I agree with your point about let's make sure the money gets to where it needs to, but my only thing was they didn't prove that they had a formula in place that actually, what we say in sort of statistical analysis, actually affects the outcome. The variable that they're changing is amount of spending, and you can run, you can use lots of tools to see if that affects the outcomes or not.
But that's why we should invite somebody from that group to come and speak to these concerns. They may have methodology that we don't have access to. And they could definitely address all of those questions if they were invited to come.
Yeah, I looked at all the stuff and I went to a few of the meetings, and you know, they wrote in their report that the report is what the group thinks, right? Like,
well, I just think that, you know, it's not really fair that we have two members on that group that are in District 20.
Sure.
They can definitely come and represent.
And in January, the group will be coming. That's when the engagement process starts. And so that's kind of your point is you think it's premature now.
Yeah.
I don't, but okay. Yeah, we can agree to disagree. Okay, any other comments from any members on this? Good, should we call a vote? I know Vito was having some issues. Kevin, can you, actually, is there a motion to vote on the resolution? Is there a second? Okay. Kevin, can you take the votes, please? And if you agree to approve the resolution, you'll say approve. If you do not want to approve the resolution, I guess just say do not approve. Or no, yes or no is also fine.
Ready?
Yep.
Stephen Stowe,
Yes.
Jennifer Hugh, Elizabeth Chen,
Abstain.
Vito Labella. Vito Labella.
He's not, I don't see him online, Kevin. You can keep
Okay.
moving.
Maria. Oh, excuse me, Marie Brugueras.
Yes.
Gada Amin.
Abstain.
Yona Isufi.
I'll abstain.
Li Peng Yen. Maya Rosenblatt.
I support.
Joy C.
Yes.
Kevin Zhao.
We didn't hear Yona or Gada, I don't think.
I heard Yona too.
Okay, yeah, I know. Can you just tell us all what Gada and Yona votes were?
Yes. Wait, and
Abstain still.
abstain, correct? And then Gada.
Yes, abstain.
Okay. He's not on. Yeah, I don't see him on. Yeah, he's. Okay. And actually, Kevin, yeah, okay, so usually the one who counts it, do you want to read it off, Kevin, the results? You can say the motion, so it takes 6 to pass a resolution or a motion. And so
Okay.
you can read off the results if you like.
Just to reaffirm, Jennifer Hugh. I'm sorry, one more time.
He just wants to get, Kevin's just
With-
double checking your vote again.
No. And then Elizabeth Chen. And then so that's 2, 3. So the vote does not pass. We have 5 yeses, 4 abstains, and 1 no.
I think it's 6 yeses, Kevin.
Do it.
I think we've got myself, yes.
Yeah.
Marie, yes. Li Ping, Maya, Joyce, and Kevin.
Marie, did you abstain or say yes? Oh, okay, then yes. Then sorry, excuse me. Then yes, the vote does approve with 6 yeses. 6
And-
yeses, 4 abstains, and then 1 no.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Three abstains, 6 yeses, 3 abstains, 1 no, and then I guess Vito is abstained by
Yeah.
not here,
Yeah.
didn't answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is all for the calendar meeting. Our next calendar meeting will be January 12th, I believe. January 11th is the next CEC calendar meeting. So thank you everyone for attending. We will have the business meeting to follow this. I expect it will be very short. We need to take a break, or are we good to just go right to the motion? So first, let's make a motion to adjourn the calendar meeting officially. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, the calendar meeting is adjourned. Let's go right into it, right?